See, I understand what's happening in Egypt. As I said, Beck is right, but I'm just trying to figure out like this countries that people don't have no experience in um, democracy, they are foreign and venturing into democracy, and at first it's very euphoric, it's very exhilarating, it's very dynamic, and people saying yes, freedom at last, freedom at last. But you see, in the free world right now, um, the movement is going to be towards dictatorship. I mean, people always felt that Clinton might have been the first to declare dictatorship, then George Bush. I don't think anybody's saying that Obama's going to do that, but people are expecting a dictator in the free world. So what's that? The dictatorial world is going free. The free world is going dictatorial. It's just to create chaos that the Bible talks about. The Bible says that in the last days, a sign of the end of time or the time of the end would be um, time of trouble such as never was. Because I think that the revolution in Egypt hasn't solved the original problem. Yes, so Mubarak might be doing this and that or whatever. But they depend on $1.2 billion dollars a year for whatever. And that creates a substantial part of their GDP because, as you spend it and so forth and so on. But what I think was crucial is that if they had said, Mubarak, look at this here. We want to work on the roads here. We think that this area of the desert we could, convert it into an oasis. I think, plans like that. And then if you say no, 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 then you got to go because this is where we think that you need to go. And I will say, hey, beautiful. Um, and in the West now, with debt and unemployment and people losing houses and so forth, um, I'm not rejoicing in the Egyptian thing because you don't want that in the West because them boys don't clamp down. Okay, but as I said, the freeing up and the clamping down it's to get people real riled up and furious and want to go there and destroy stuff because you see, I don't know if these people in Egypt remember Tiananmen Square. Now, the Chinese say, "Hey, y'all talking about democracy and all this freedom and all this stuff. Tell me how many Chinese you want, Canada. We can give you 50 if you want, bro." At that time, that would be double the size of the population. So they would have 75 million straight up like that. How much you want, America? We could give you like 400 million. Germany, how many you want? We could give you a whole set of million, man. We got Chinese here like like the stars, bro. And so um, the Chinese people have backed up since Tiananmen and they haven't come forward again. But if they were to come forward and they will run Tiananmen Square and the presidential casa, la Casa de Presidente, you know what? You have a serious problem because they can only move to the Tiananmen Square and to the palace and to the army barracks. Here what they're doing? They're moving to the airport and moving to the port, the seaport. Man, in 1 week, half of China is empty and they're going all around the world. Boy, that'd be something. So I think that we got to come together as a people and say, you know what, this is what we could do for our country, elaborating on President Kennedy's inaugural um, conclusion. Don't ask what the country can do for you, what you can do for your country. This should be the revolution that people coming up with because governments are kind of like hamstrung, don't cash, a bunch of crazy ideas. But we, the wise ones who they're not going to politics, perhaps should work with them, in a subservient way, saying, try to plod them along or persuade them that, look, these are the things we ought to do and this is how we could do it so that everybody could be happy. I'm thinking of this world and infrastructure forum that I'm thinking of having in Puerto Rico. If people around the world were to come in and say, look, this is what we're going to do with the infrastructure, this is how we're going to finance it, and we start work projects around the world, Maybe we could have another couple years of peace and growth. So um, be careful what's happening out there, because when the West clamp down on the freedom, and when the East ease up on the freedom, you're gonna have some chaos right there, and that could lead straight into the end of time. So let us forestall this by intelligent behavior, prudent attitudes, and some constructive solutions, practical and constructive solutions. And I think that the world could see another spurt or another oasis of peace, prosperity, and happiness. So let us work together now